Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. My name is Kenny Simpson. So today, I want to talk about what is all this talk with the $15,000 check that you want to get for buying a first-time home and why it's a bad idea. Stay tuned. What's up, everybody? Not be emotional when you own real estate property. Okay, guys, so today I want to jump right into, a lot of you might not have heard of this, but it is coming out. It's becoming more and more mainstream, but Biden, every president that comes has a 100-day plan. And one of his 100-day plans was to give you a $15,000 check to go buy a home. And today I want to tell you why it's such a terrible idea and why we shouldn't do it. Or if we do it, how we should do it and learn from the past. So here we go. Let's jump into it. So if you guys remember, if you're listening to this and you're really, really young, you might not remember. But if you do remember, the good old great, I don't know what we're going to call this one, the Great Reset. The last one in 2008, 9, 10 was the Great Recession. So the Great Recession, obviously housing, the mortgage crisis imploded, and we had just a plethora of what? Properties on the market, and we didn't have enough buyers because everybody was scared. They're losing their homes, they're losing their business. They're basically everything, hell's going in everything was going to shit, right? And so what Obama did is he came out with, hey, if you buy a home, I'll give you this credit, which sounds great, right? But remember what I just said. The last housing market, when you do something like this, you usually do it in a down market. You do it where there's a huge supply and there's low demand. So in 2021, if you watched my video before, if you didn't, you should go back and check it out right here. Just click right here, somewhere right here, and you can go find it, where I talked the difference from 2021. But what we talked about today, right now in the market, is there's huge demand, crazy low rates, and there's no inventory. So now what you're going to do is say, hey, it's like we're at a bonfire right now, and you got this crazy big fire, and somebody decides to come over and back up like an 18-wheeler truck and dump 12 trees on top of it and make some massive fire, which we don't need. But why are we going to give $15,000 to people to go buy a home when basically people are overpaying for houses right now, especially in the San Diego market? I see $50,000, $100,000 over ask. In other markets, it's even worse. So why would we do this? It doesn't really make much sense. Like I said, we do it in a down market, not in a market that's on fire right now. So the other problem is, last time they did this, which a lot of people are not going to remember, there was a timeline on it. So you said, hey, Kenny, you have 1 year to go buy a house. If you do that, we'll give you a $15,000 tax credit back. The problem is what does that mean? That means within a year, you're going to have all these people rushing, right? Rushing to the door, rushing to go buy a home. What do you think that's going to cause? So, the agent over here that I know in San Diego that's listing a property that had 70 showings in 4 days that I just talked to last week. What are we going to have, 140 showings? Are they going to overpay? So you're just going to take an overheated housing market and spike it and make it put it steroids out of control, and you're going to cause a problem because on the end of that, what happens is soon as this goes away, all these buyers goes away. So if you go back to last time, the median house price was around $300,000, and then it went up to $330,000 right away. Soon as this credit ended, it literally overnight came back down to about $300,000. So everybody lost 10%. The market changed 10%. That's not good. It's not good for mortgage lenders, not good for appraisers. It's not good. You're just screwing up the market. So if they are going to come out with this $15,000, we need to slow down. We need to take a step back and use our brains and common sense and say, wait a second here. Maybe we shouldn't have such a timeline on it. Maybe we should say, hey, Kenny, you can get the $15,000, but you have 3 years or 5 years or something. If you cram it into the small window with the housing market that's on fire, we are going to have a problem at the end of the road. It's basically going to be like a fun roller coaster ride for a year. And then basically everybody's going to get off the roller coaster and it's going to go hell in a handbasket. And I guarantee you we're going to lose a 10, 20% and it's going to cause a problem. So this is why I don't like this $15,000. It's not that I don't want you to be incentivized to go buy a house, or you might be saying, Kenny, screw you. I want to get to $15,000. Trust me, I know you want to get to $15,000. But what you're not thinking about is this. If you go out and they offer this and you go buy that house that's worth $300 today and you go buy it for $330, right? Let's stop and think. You just pay $330 and as soon as you close and a few months later it goes to $300, they just gave you $15,000, but you just lost $30,000 in equity. So if you did a VA loan or an FHA loan or a conventional loan with 5% down, I don't have to tell you to do the math. You're already underwater. Yes, you have a low interest rate. You can probably afford the payment. But remember, guys, we're human beings. Human nature is if the stock market's not up, we're not feeling rich. If housing's not up and my house is not above water, if I don't have equity, we don't feel rich. If nobody feels rich, they don't want to do. They don't want to spend money. If we don't spend money, the economy stops. If the economy stops, we have a recession or we have a depression, which isn't good for any assets. So back to my point, you might be thinking just, everybody chases the money and I want to get it and I want to get the house, but they don't think about the short-term consequences of this. So with that being said, that's my thought on the $15,000 pass. If it does pass, let's hope we get that extended out so we have a longer runway to get this done. But if it is short-lived, keep in mind, if you are buying a house, you got to remember, you probably are going to be buying at a massive peak in the market, the top of the market. And don't be surprised if you lose equity after you get this done. Don't be shocked. So remember, if you're going to buy a house in this kind of market, even today without this, make sure you're able to stay in that house through a downturn. So that would mean what? You can afford the payment. You're comfortable living there. Don't think you're going to buy a house and, I'm going to sell in 3 years and you're going to get out. This housing market could change, especially if something like this, it can get even worse. So my thing is I tell buyers right now, if you buy a house and you cannot see yourself living there for 10 years, we don't know. You better really, really think about it. Do you really want to buy this? Because if you think you're going to buy it, especially if you're putting minimal down and you go, I want to change, I want to sell it, that might not be an option. And also renting it out to cover your expenses might not be an option as well. That brings me to my next topic. So on the next video, what am I going to talk about? I'm going to talk about the real estate investment trap that everybody's getting into and they don't even know what's going on. And I'm also going to talk about what happened last cycle where a lot of people lost their homes and why they did it. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching. My name is Kenny Simpson.